Order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Here. Councilman Questa. Here. Councilman Jacobs. Here. Councilman Grover. Councilman Keenan. Councilman Sedan.
Here.
Councilman Bowman.
Here.
Councilman Mazza.
Here.
President Gonzalez.
Here. Please stand for the prayer and pledge of allegiance led by Councilman Bowman.
Almighty God, and we meditate for our community, may a strong, consistent justice, fair play, permeate all we do. Above all, may we seek after your holy will. Give us the strength to follow it, regardless of all human inspiration. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is a regular meeting of the City Council as incorporated in the annual meeting notice of 2012, which was filed in the City Clerk's office and posted on the bulletin board on December 27, 2011, and sent to the Star Ledger and Home News Tribune in compliance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law of New Jersey. I will now open the public speaking portion of the meeting. Is there anyone wishing to address City Council? You may do so at this time. Please state your name and address for the record.
Mayor Samuel McCollum, Chairman of the local organizer, 32 Elmwood, Elizabeth, New Jersey. I like to read this article. It came out in Suburban News on August 18th. Elizabeth receives more than $2.8 million in federal housing grants. U.S. Senators Robert Menendez and Frank Lautenberg recently announced that Elizabeth will share $35.7 million in federal funding for community development and affordable housing opportunities for low and moderate income families and individuals living with AIDS. The city received a total of $2,812,120 in grants awarded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD are part of the four initiatives: the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Emergency Shelter Grant, ESG, Home and Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS. This federal funding will strengthen our neighborhoods, boost local economies, and help New York families find a safe place to call home, said Senator Lautenberg, a member of the Subcommittee on Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development, which funds HUD. We will continue to fight to invest in New Jersey communities and improve access to housing for families in our state. Elizabeth received $1,865,232 as a part of the Community Development Block Grant program that provides annual grants for economic and community revitalization and to develop viable housing options in low to middle income areas. Now, if we receive this money, I hope we focus on the condition of the people at Oak Plaza and use this money first to help relocate those people, because those buildings need to be condemned. Now, Elizabeth Local Organizer has been some you may not even know about this. In 2005, we were instrumental in a protest rally against the Elizabeth Police Department. We had 3 protest rallies that was aired by Channel 12 News, Channel 9, Channel 7, and it slowed down the racial profiling, the false arrest, the mistreatment. We were able to get Officer Mike Rose and Flatley in the Oreo up out of the plaza back there. They moved them somewhere else. Now they have brought them back. Now the racism is back. Oppression is myself, my committee, with the help of the People's Organization of Progress, we went to every city council meeting in Roosevelt for 2 years, demanding justice. So don't think we're going to go away. We're going to be here until the people vote with positive justice. I'm going to be here by myself. You don't see as many tenants as you did last time. Don't worry about it. I'm going to be here until those people receive justice. There's a demolition site. One of the buildings was torn down, the 400 building on Irvington Avenue. A building that was filled with bed bugs, roaches, rats, asbestos, black mold. There's no covering on the building. It's been a month now, and they haven't got the refuge of the building up and out of there yet. The people are suffering from the dust going all throughout the community. They won't even put a tarp over the building, over the debris. They won't even put a tarp over the debris. Children playing outside, breathing in all this asbestos and black mold. Children coming down with asthma. And don't tell me you don't have power. You got power. Because things have gotten a little bit on the move up there. Things have gotten a little bit on the move up there. You understand? Police not acting as crazy as they used to be. But the racism is still there. It's still there. It's just waiting for us to slack up so they can continue the way they've been doing for years. But the conditions must change. That apartment complex must be condemned. If you haven't been up there, council members, please go up there and see what we're talking about. Walk around and just see what we're talking about. See how the people are suffering. Visit a few of the apartments. See the terrible conditions that the people are living under. You can't put a brand name on that place. It's irredeemable. You got something to do. Thank you.
Is there any other resident taxpayer that would like to address City Council? You may do so at this time.
Well, we're coming from the city. I see that they have ordinance number 455, authorizing the amendment to chapter 5, chapter 350 of the Code of the City and how amendment code scheduled session specifically to extend the expiration date to December 31st, 2014. I guess the city council wrote the law. We also have this 11 dated August 1st, 2012. Appropriate documents for the Bloomberg Management sponsored the 2012 Mayor Challenge competition for cities with populations of at least 30,000 residents and an amount not to exceed $5 million. I wonder, they're also going to have a rider include this authorization. And telling you how large the solar power we can make.
Is there any other taxpayer or resident wishing to address City Council? You may do so at this time.
I had asthma real bad. Every day when I come in, I used to go to Stephen Sampson Center. When I come in, I got to roll up my car windows to come in to park my car because I parked by the window. My window was the last one in the back of the 230 building. As you can see now, I'm still coughing. You got little bitty babies, little kids out there, grown ups. You got to, I walk from here, from my house to the corner store, I'm smelling it. You can smell it all the way down by the fire department. And the fire department people that work there, they are also inhaling this and smelling this. And it's there on our fire department too. And the smell is just terrible up there. The doors are broken. We almost had a blood bath that somebody turned on the fire hose. And it's just very, very unlivable conditions. I had to put in when they go in the senior building, but I'm on the list, so I gotta wait. So meantime I'm coughing, I'm gagging. I had an asthma attack yesterday from coming out of the parking lot. I had to pull my car over to the side where my asthma comes. And it's really unlivable an update. You know, the elevator stayed broke, the elevator my building held is broken down by a couple weeks. Thank God I live on the, the second floor. When I moved to that building, one of me moved on the fourth floor. And I argued with him, I told him, I said, I'm not moving on the fourth floor because the elevator stayed broke. They tell me, well, you got to move. I said, I don't have to do nothing to stay like that. And I told him, I will not move. And I told them if they moved me to that fourth floor, I was going to call my councilwoman, the mayor, everybody else. So they put me on the second floor. So thank God the elevator is broke. I can walk right inside and go to my building. But I'm in the hell of this every day. I am 66 years old, I'm a senior. And I should not have to live through this. You know, I pay my rent. You know, I'm not behind or nothing. Okay?
Is there any other taxpayer or resident wishing to address City Council? You may do so at this time.
I'm discussing about housing. I'm discussing about senior housing, this year house right now in Elizabeth. I've been in this Westfield Avenue about 3 years, I believe, and it's getting worse and worse. I went to the manager, his name is Sal Corello, and told him about my problem with the building. He looked at me, he said, you know what, I'm going to talk to you for 30 minutes, it's an hour of my time. Okay? Then I had my classmates, the Ruckers, and they observed for 3 days. I was minding, I was looking at this building. They sat there for 3 days. They went to the front office, and my old professor said, I looked at her, she gave me some scouts, she scared me. I said, she does that sometimes. She said, Tina, you already said, I said, yes. He said, you Lawrence, I'll show you. So one time, I showed up, go straight, let's go back outside, you see a red door, red door, then you're in trouble. And noise. Anybody come? No. Because it's so late at night, you know what I'm doing. So again, I went to South and I saw my problem. Then again, you got disgusted. I was talking about concern about the building. Okay, I'm taught to train as a social worker. And when I'm observing, it really obsessed me. Like today, it's one gentleman, it's a tenant. He's emotionally disturbed. He comes and says, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. I said, go to the office. Tell the office people that you're hungry. He said, they walk away from me. They did. I said, go back again. They still walk away. This man was hungry. I said, fine, tell the man in the office that you want to call your sister. He found it after a half hour of completing the crime, they finally called him his sister. To me, when I was told I wanted to say how I thought I was protected, it's not that way. I said, why is the social worker here just once or twice a week? Citizens do not provide social work. The senior housing, which I think is a shame. I'm amateur. They come talk to me, Tina, I need this, Tina, I need this. I said, go to the office. But the office shut me. They see the office all the time. And my other officer said, she works in prison. She said, not a prison guard. I said, no, she's that way. She's unapproachable. She shows us significant and nothing to test it. But it always comes to me. But tell me, seeing how we live is awful. We went to North. We observed North course in Elizabeth. With aren't, it's really bad. Actually, this is why we live in rural areas. It's like it is so bad. He said, no, I believe so. And then at the day, I was surprised. They'll charge you $5 to change the light bulb, get a new light bulb. You can't pay by check or cash. You have to give them a money order. Let's think about it. These are senior citizens, old and sick. How can you go to the bank or go to the post and get a $5 money order to get the light bulb changed? Does that make sense to you? It does not make sense to me either. So I took pictures. I showed my phone glasses. $5 for a light bulb. You can go to dollars for it. Now, I got it for it. I'm thinking, and I got lots of one accidentally because one of them says, oh, see, I need to ride. I ran my building in the apartment. I locked myself. It took me $10 to get back in. I took the key, let myself back in. I went an hour and a half and over the door. I said, I'm glad I was there today. We go a little bit of burn time. So I'm asking my counsel. Please look into this. It bothers me. Because in my heart, I always be social. But what I've seen, it really makes it a problem. Anything you can do about this problem, please do it. These older people, they need our help. They work all their lives. They need to be protected in our city, county, the senior system. It's not happening. I was shocked myself. But I see I want something done. It's not there. Senior system is not unprotected. Sprays are cleaning out the building. It's not clean. Can't get help, you need help. They come call me. I said, I'm not imagine, but it hurts me. Anyway, matter what, I'm always trained as a social worker, so I'll do the things I have to do. So please, council, please listen to my cry and please do something like City House has to change. For something happening, I told you. And I said, thank you.
Okay. Any other resident or taxpayer wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time. Name and address for the record.
Huh?
Name and address for the record.
Maria Maria, 321 Westfield Avenue. Okay, I don't know where I can go to try to find some type of program or something in Elizabeth for autism. I'm not talking about a school where we do need a school for autism. I'm talking about our program, recreational things of that nature, to try to get my son into a sport or something, or just something that's for autism. There's really nothing in Elizabeth. Everything is in Mountainside or in Livingston, wherever it is, they do have after school programs in Mountainside, but that means we have to take 2 buses to a bed or 2 buses to get home. I don't know if anybody, has any child or knows a child with special needs, or anything, but they really need more in Elizabeth for autism or special needs, whatever you want to categorize it as. Okay? Thank you.
Could you give the city clerk information so that way she can find out and get back to you on it? Yeah. Make sure she has your. Any other taxpayer resident wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time.
Sean Benson, 1063 Bond Street. The situation with the police hasn't changed. It hasn't changed at all. He's, Sandy Brooks said they slacked up. I'm up there every night. He comes through when he can to check out for us. They ain't slacked up at all. They come through. Just last night, they were harassing our children. Just last night this happened. A kid playing in the dirt. They saying he was vandalizing some stuff or whatever by putting mud. A 9-year-old kid putting mud on the side of the generator. When he was playing in the dirt, they called backup on him, gave the mother hard times, and they walk through at night with their hands and their sticks, putting on their gloves, about 10 of them. This is every night. They come through and they say smart remarks. Tell the grown people they got to go in the house in a minute. This is still going on. You didn't do anything about it. You didn't really do nothing. I'm just being straight up with you. You didn't do anything. The conditions of living over there, as far as with this construction site, nobody's living into anything. Nobody do nothing. You ain't doing anything. Your breathing is horrible. Man. You told me you were going to come. You told me personally. The last time I saw you here, you would come. You didn't come. You see this yourself. The police wear masks when they come up here. What that say? You want me to show you a picture of that? I'll show you some footage on that. Like I told you, I didn't bring all this stuff here, but I have it. When the time comes, I'm going to show everybody everything. But I'm giving you a chance to do something. You're not doing nothing. Nothing. Do something. I hope you do the right thing with this money. I don't know if you've seen this letter. I'm pretty sure you're all aware of this. But I'll leave it here. But if you prefer this, you
can give it to the city clerk and she can circulate it to everybody.
Okay, but something's got to change because these cops are way out of hand. They beat up a female downtown. I don't know if you're aware of that. They're out of control. They're narcotic union. Just because they walk around now, the only thing that's changed, they don't wear their plain clothes anymore. They're in uniform. That's the only change we've seen. Everything else is the same. They're still the same. They act like maniacs. They walk through at night. You should see how they come through. They tell all the work, oh, you better go in the house, go in the house, go in the house. You said, well, I'm out here with my children. It's 7 o'clock. It's the summertime. I don't care. If I have to come back, I'm going to lock you up. This is recent. This week I'm talking about. And last night they were harassing a little child, a 9-year-old kid. Someone you could have just told his mother to an age, drove over, they still ride on the grass. They have these expedition trucks. There's a white expedition truck. They ride all up on the grass, racing all through it. And these are sergeants, but I don't know, lieutenants, white shirts we call them. The ones that they know better. They know better. Okay? Those are the ones that tell the other ones not to do it. Why are they still doing it? The other cops are going to do what they see them do. And what they tell them. I know they're not telling them nothing because they're still doing it. What do you want me to do? You want me to bring a TV in for you to see this yourself? Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm telling you, I don't have time to keep coming here wasted, but I will. Like I said, like he said, we'll be here. know about it, okay? We know about it. Great numbers of us know about it. Do something about it. Fix it. I don't know what's going on, but do something, okay? Something effective that we know of. And come up there, like you promised me. Promise me I'll walk premises with you. Nothing will happen to you. You don't have to worry about that. You want cops to come there, fine. We'll walk around with them. I don't care how I gotta go down. You come at night, you come during the day. You should come at night so you can see what we see. You should come at night, maybe 12 at night, 11 at night. You can't even walk to the store late at night. You can't go to your car to get gas. They're parking by your car, saying smart remarks, double blocking you in so you can't pull out. This is what goes on up there. And you know, the people are like, they're not afraid of it. It's what could you do? They're the law. You know, you can only say so much. That's why we're here telling you, but you're not doing nothing. Do something, please.
Any other taxpayer resident wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time.
Good evening. My name is Evan Mars. I'm the 674th Avenue. Yeah, the incident speaking of in reference to the 9-year-old, that's my nephew. You know, little brother Olympus. And you know, it's ridiculous. When you still shooting kids like garden drumming. I mean, I had to literally tell him on hand, you know, we're going to the point where we're about to have altercation. You know, he's not a bad kid. He's never been in trouble. He's not going to run trouble. You know, the tool cleaned it up. That's what he's doing. You know, but all the while, the whole life, I literally tell him, take your hand off. Why are you still holding it? You know, but the response is, yeah, well, I called back up, you know, my brother's young, you know, he's not going anywhere. It's not like he really vandalized anything, like he had spray paint or something like that. It's mud for crying out. It's mud. There's nothing but water and dirt. You know, this is what we've been reduced to. Instead of actually solving a real crime, people getting killed down on 3rd Street, you know, 4th Street, downtown, midtown, even Piercement, you know, but I ain't had nothing else to do but to chase a 9-year-old down because he's playing in the mud. I mean, I'm just trying to find some clarity in the situation. I mean, at what point is something really going to be done, you know, or when we're going to make a real effort toward, you know, rectifying the situation or trying to, you know, repair community relationships with, you know, the officers, you know, the administrative people, you know, the agents that we have, you know, the whole law and stuff. This is all I know. And as far as the money, you know, I'm not going to get to that, you know, God knows for some reason I don't feel like being shaken or fair shaken. I don't believe there's everyone being, you know, clear understanding. I don't understand, you know, where this money, you know, is being misappropriated. I mean, crying out loud, come past Wall Street, and I see them fixing the sidewalk, and they just usually built again, you know, more than 10 or so, you know, you compare the same sidewalk. I mean, this is like, okay, we get the money, and we'll go ahead and do this job here, and say this will be spent on. I mean, when is it actually going to come to this community? You know, you tear one building down, like I said before. If one building has asbestos, I'm quite sure they all do at the same time. That's what the left is. It's some type of pattern. That's not all right. These are the concerns that I have. You know, I'm quite sure everybody else has. There's probably a lot more. But you know, whenever it feels like, you know, you decide you want to give somebody an answer, you know, I'll be here. You know, along with the rest of them, I'll be here. You know, have a good night.
Any other resident or taxpayer wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time. Hold the mic down. Hold the mic down, sir. Yeah.
It was Adrian Wallace outside of 200 Park Road, Apartment 2B in Elizabeth, at Pierce Manor / Plaza Apartments. When we were last here, we came with our complaints, we came with our woes, we came with our comments to you. You stated that you tried to get Ms. Carol Foglio to come and have a meeting with us. I feel as though that meeting should be with the council. Even if the council do not have anything to say, and with the tenants of Open Plaza. And then, well, I received a note under my door stating that they want to have a meeting with question is, why are we having a separate meeting? Why aren't we having a meeting here? You did state to us that you would try to have CIS here at council. And here, I'm sure there's some questions that you have for them. And I'm sure whatever questions that you have for them, we would like to hear it. I do have a copy. You're welcome to come to the meeting. To my understanding, it's from 4 to 5, which I feel as though the hours are unacceptable because we have people at work and they would like to be at this meeting. And I just feel as though this is another point for them to just dismiss us and have, it's not a whole lot of members, but the people that are concerned that need to be there. That's all I have to say.
Any other taxpayer resident wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time.
Hi, my name is Maria Devasi, 212 NC Place, second floor. You know, I came here to talk about some concerns on the first ward where I'm at. But you know something, hearing these people and the way that they're living, everybody up here should be ashamed, especially you, Sedan. You're the councilman. And I don't think that this happened overnight. When you took office, you promised that you would take care of your own ward. Now, to me, I think if any of you want to know how it is to live up there, why don't you stay in one apartment? That's how it is. Because me, I was a landlord, and I used to work for the Hunter, and I used to take care of a building of 250 people. As God is my witness, those people were living deplorable. Ceilings were falling down. And I sat there and I had every repair done. Because that could have been my family member and that could have been me or my children. You do not want other people to live the way you wouldn't want to live, or your children. But I hear these people pain. And as officials, do you hear this? I need your vote. Well, now they're knocking over here saying, I need help. And what are you planning to do? Because I've been looking at these videos. Nelson, I'm sorry. I respect you. But you should have kept your word. You should have showed up and let them see that you are serious. Because it hurts them. These people are mad. I went, and I went to Lesniak's house, and they were having a picnic. That they were all applauding that opening closet was being knocked down. And I looked at my friend James. I turned around and said, "Wow, I'm surprised they didn't get beach chairs and selling tickets out there, to see this happen. Where do people going to go? These are children. To hear that children have to play in mud, would you want your kids to play in mud? Is that why we have children? Many of them don't have money like we all do. But you know something? Live in their apartment. See how they have to live. And then as a police, I know Migos. Migos should not be in the police department. After you walked in and beat up that lady, how could you continue to let an officer like that still patrolling our community? He's a racist person. He hates the color black. He hates it. He might as well turn around and start wearing a white sheet over his head and say, I'm KKK. Because I know you and I know Shaq. Those are two cops that should not be on the force. Now, I could stand here and you could say, okay, here goes that loudmouth Maria. I really don't care. But you know something? I stand up for the people.
Go ahead.
And I don't but you know what? I pay taxes. And I'm feeling their pain and I don't live there. And if I live there, let me tell you something. You say that you went to the city hall. I bet you any money right now, I'll put $1,000 against your dog that I'll get something done before you do. And I make a promise on my grandchildren
address City Council, you may do so at this time.
Of the 32 Elmwood Place, New Jersey. I came to support my brothers and sisters that live in Oakland Plaza, but I live on Elmwood Place. I don't need to live over there. The smell is going on over there. All I got to do is walk out my front door and the smell is right there because Elmwood Place, Oakland Plaza. And when they not in the building now, it's like right across the street from Elmwood Place. So when they smell in their house, or when they children come outside to play, when I step out my front door to do whatever it is I have to do, I also smell it. I just want to say to the council that if you give your word, like you give your word to that flag, then you ought to stand by your word. Without your word, that's the first thing you have is your word. And then once you move on your word and show action, then somebody can say you did something. But if you're not doing nothing, then your word goes to what? Naught. It goes to naught. So we thank you for Patricia Perkins for all of our work that she does in our community. I'm sorry, sir. But the young man right here, he also at the council meeting, he also came. And the cops, they were saying something like, something to him, and the fact that, I'm just paraphrasing because I'm not for sure, but I think they were telling him, you need to go home, don't go over there with the people. We said, I'm going right over there with them. I'm going to hang out with them. Find out what's going on. The cops, they were standing outside their car, they was harassing the brothers and sisters that was out here. They, and the cops was, because they didn't realize who he was at first, but then I guess they figured out who he was, and I guess they were like, oh, well, maybe you should go down there with them people. We said, that's exactly where I'm going, to see what's going on with them. And just like he came up, our purpose came up, maybe you should come out. Smell without smell, see without see.
Any other taxpayer resident wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time.
Good evening. My name is James Carey. I'm chairman of the Elizabeth branch of the People's Organization of Progress.
Good evening.
Initially, I was going to remain reticent and just come up here and support her capacity. However, after hearing one of my valued seniors, Ms. Marty, choking as if she had respiratory infection, and here the young brother asked you guys a question and you failed to reply, I take it as an ultimate disrespect. These people have been coming up here time after time, bringing to your attention a situation that you guys are fully aware of. You are aware of the global condition and the urban infestation. And then they conduct demolition of a building, and I know I don't have a background in construction, but common sense tells you that you have to spray it down. They didn't spray it. They did it. It wasn't a thorough job. This stuff is, the days that we have is human. Okay, they get a strong gust of wind, and that stuff becomes airborne. You had children out there. Okay, they were morning at the beginning of the meeting, almost gagging. It's sad. And you just sit up there, and business as usual. Well, you guys have recourse. Call an environmental protection agency, okay? And then, if these children are acting like the police, go over to law enforcement and justice department. Okay? It's sad that these people have to be oppressed like this, and you guys sit up there as if it's business as usual. I mean, you gave them your word, with all due respect, I respect you also, but you gave these people their word. Back in the day, people of color, we didn't inherit a lot of money, so when we give a person a shake, we shook their hand, we gave them our word, and our word was our bond. Okay? You told these people you were good, we should have went up there. And that's the least thing you could have done. Come on, man. It's appalling. It's really appalling. And you got these kids here, now they're being harassed by the police, 9 years old, because he's playing, innocently in the mud. That's his prerogative. And then when cops come up there with this imposing appearance, know, I mean, when it's going to stop? You guys are fully aware of the situation in the poor condition and the burning devastation up there over Plaza. And you can't, I get anyone of you telling right now that you're doing well. I know anyone. You need to look into the situation very carefully because when the people are tired, they rise up against their oppressor. Remember what happened in North 67.
City Council, you may do so at this time. Once again, any of the resident taxpayer wishing to address City Council, you may do so at this time. Seeing none, I close the public speaking portion of the meeting. I just want to say one thing now that the public speaking portion is over, is that I know the last few meetings, the residents of the manor have been coming out and, expressing their concern over the deplorable living conditions that many of you are under that nobody should endure. I know prior to that, you reached out to the councilwoman at large, to the councilman on the board, and then ultimately you've come here seeking relief from this body to see what we can do to help you. Again, while we don't manage or own these buildings, as elected officials, we have a responsibility to advocate on your behalf. On behalf of the residents, when we see an injustice, and based on everything we know, we should all be outraged at what is going on at Pierce Manor. I want you to know, though, that despite the many difficulties, that as president, I am doing all I can to help bring resolution to your situation. I've invited CIS, I've asked them to come to meet with us, and I expect them to come to one of our meetings next month to meet with us. I'm happy to hear that they, on their own, have decided to initiate meetings with the residents, because that is what they should have been doing all along. I've discussed this with the mayor and expressed the concern as a collective body as to what's going on over at Pierce Manor as well. I've talked directly with the police director, and he's assured me he's made changes and, he's put in a new infrastructure, a new rotation. He's indicated to me, and I've asked him, and I've talked to him particularly about the name calling and things like that are taking place that are inappropriate and how they're handling the residents that live there. I feel, mostly for the women, children, and the seniors that live there and have to go through this every day. But they assure me that because of the crime that takes place there, sometimes things don't always work out the way they like them to, but I ask them to please look into that and to work on it. I've also spoken with our director of the Health and Human Services Department. She's assured me that every time that there's a complaint that's made, that they go out there and they investigate, and they've been issuing summonses and bringing CIS to court to try to get that taken care of. And I've spoken to others to give urgency to your situation. So I don't want you to think that, and yeah, I did say to Sean, I was going to try to get out there that last time he was here, and I haven't been able to. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it. That just means I haven't been able to get out there from the last meeting to today. So I have not gone back on my word. You're judging me before I have the opportunity to get out there.
We're going to be dead by the time we get there. Please tell me.
Red, you're still you're on the order. Thank you. Residents have clearly stated that the buildings need to be torn down. Based on what I've heard, and I've seen pictures, residents have shown me pictures on their phones. Councilman Grove has showed me pictures on his phones. I've seen other pictures of what's going on over there. So I am aware of what's going on over there. And based on what I've seen, you're probably right. But the problem is that right now, if they decide to condemn, there's no plan in terms of where they're going to relocate all the families that are there. So I don't know that that's the answer either at this point, as terrible as the situation is there. I understand the difficulties that have been created for CIS when the state went through their funds to finance the original plan. But nonetheless, they have a responsibility as a landlord to their tenants, and they need to correct and make the situation right. After we meet with CIS, unless they're able to address your unhealthy living conditions in an acceptable time frame, I urge you to seek legal recourse. You know, we mentioned once before that that's an alternative that you have, to seek legal recourse. And it may be time for you to start doing that if you don't want to wait for CIS to answer some of the questions or have some of the meetings that they're planning to have. And I also urge you to take this and bring the situation to the attention of your state and federal representatives as well, so that this way they can lend their hand in helping to do something, you know, to make the situation better. You know, I don't know, they mentioned, Mr. Muhammad mentioned about those dollars. I don't know how those dollars are going to be allocated, you know, so we have to find out that funding, how it's going to be used. I mean, sometimes they're designated to be used in a certain way. I don't know right now what the answer to that is. I don't even know that we've actually received that money. I know we're supposed to receive that money, but I don't know that we actually have yet. Or how it's to be used. So we will be following up on that to find out, to see if this can be used. Again, as you, some of you know, it is a federal project-based housing. You know, it is through HUD and the federal government the only way that something can be done. And hopefully CIS will be working with us, working with the federal government to try to bring some resolution to this, whether it's refurbishing those buildings or whether it's relocating families to other locations. I don't know what the answer is right now. But I just want you to know that yes, I am doing whatever I can as president of council. And I know some of my colleagues also, you know, are also. I know that you indicated the councilwoman continues. I know Councilman West has also had contact with some families over there. I know Councilman Gorman as well has had contact with families over there and are doing what they can to help push and advocate to make the situation better for you. So we're not having forgotten you. It hasn't fallen on deaf ears. It's just a very difficult and complicated situation, and we are trying to do the best that we can for you.
Mr. President, could you ask the lady that had the schedule that they're going to meet, could we have a copy of the meeting?
Sure. Ms. Wallace, a copy of that, could you share that with the city clerk, please? Just have a copy of that meeting. So we can have.
Thank you. Thank you. Just give us. Thank you.
Okay, we will now move on to our public hearings.
Ordinance number 4322, authorizing amendment to Chapter 8.80 of the Code of the City of Elizabeth entitled Regulation of Vacant and Foreclosing Residential Properties, specifically to include proof of utility connections, disconnections, and to increase annual registration fees.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4322. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on ordinance number 4322? Once again, you've heard the reading of ordinance number 4322. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on ordinance number 4322? Seeing none, I close the public hearing on ordinance number 4322.
Ordinance number 4323, authorizes sewer utility bond ordinance in an amount not to exceed $12 million to finance various sewer capital projects to upgrade the city's aging sewer utility infrastructure.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4323. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on ordinance number 4323? Once again, you've heard the reading of ordinance number 4323. Is there anyone present who would like to speak on ordinance number 4323? Seeing none, I close the public hearing on ordinance number 4323. With the consent of my colleagues, I will dispense with the reading of the petitions and communications and reports of city officers and move on to ordinances on first reading.
Ordinance number 4324, amend ordinance number 4318 adopted July 24, 2012, authorizing an ordinance to exceed the fiscal year 2013 municipal budget cost of living allowance and to establish a cap bank, specifically to revise the amount to $4,184,160.08.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4324. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. The ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance number 4325, authorizing amendment to chapter 5.70.250 of the Code of the City of Elizabeth entitled Rent Control and Stabilization, specifically to extend the expiration date to December 31st, 2014.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4325. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance number 4326, amend ordinance number 3750 adopted August 23, 2005, authorizing the adoption of the Durant redevelopment plan, specifically to propose revised plans due to a fire that damaged and destroyed structures in the original plan.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4326. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President, based on some legal issues, I'll make a motion to table this ordinance.
Okay. Motion to table, seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. Motion passes on the table.
Ordinance number 4327, authorizing the establishment of a personalized handicap parking space for L. Canner Sheffield, 1024 M Street.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4327. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance number 4328, authorize the establishment of a personalized handicap parking space for Donna Thomas, 563 Jefferson Avenue.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4328. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance number 4329, rescind ordinance number 3642, adopted August 24, 2004, which authorized the establishment of a personalized handicap parking space for Pearl W. Cooper, 856 Bond Street.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4329. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. The ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance number 4330, rescind ordinance number 3614, adopted April 27, 2004, which authorized the establishment of a personalized handicap parking space for Marie Pereira, 528 Marshall Street.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4330. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Councilman Questa. Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan. Councilman Gollman. Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ordinance passes on first reading. Public hearing and further consideration of the foregoing ordinances shall take place at the City Council meeting to be held Tuesday, September 11, 2012 at 7:30 p.m. We will now move on to ordinances on final passage.
Ordinance number 4322, authorizing amendment to chapter 8.80 of the Code of the City of Elizabeth entitled Regulation of vacant and foreclosing residential properties, specifically to include proof of utility connections, disconnections, and to increase annual registration fees.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4322. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Councilman Jacks.
President, with regards to chapter 8.80, with regards to city code, it states here regulation of vacant and foreclosing residential properties. We had a group of people here over the last number of weeks with regards to discussion on the plaza. It is my concern, no one has mentioned this, and I don't think the people here are aware of the fact that it is quite obvious that the person who owns, or the group who owns Oakwood Plaza right now, could be moving into foreclosure. I don't know the situation or the entire situation. Is that something that we can find out?
Yes, Councilman.
All right, I need to know if that organization is moving into foreclosure or close to it. Because if it is, and it does move into foreclosure, there could be an eviction process.
I don't believe that's the case, but we will certainly find out.
If it goes into foreclosure, there would be an eviction process. Okay, somebody will buy it, hopefully, and then what will happen is either buildings will come down or somebody will do something with the apartments. I know I deal with this sort of thing all the time, not on the commercial end, but on the residential end. I also need to know if, in fact, the group that owns Oakwood Plaza, if they're paying the mortgage, the note that they sign, if they're paying that monthly, and how they're paying it. Are they paying that note with the rents that they're getting? Because if they're paying with the rents that they're getting, then that's why there's no improvements to these apartments, and that's why we're having the problems we're having. So I think we need to start making some decisions here to find out what's actually going on. Because this is a major problem. It's a major concern for me because eviction is not something that's nice and easy for people to go through. And I'm not saying that that's happening right now, but it could very well happen in the very near future. So I think we need to understand what's going on so we have a grasp of it.
Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ordinance passes on final reading.
Ordinance number 4323 authorizes sewer utility bond ordinance in an amount not to exceed $12 million to finance various sewer capital projects to upgrade the city's aging sewer utility infrastructure.
You've heard the reading of ordinance number 4323. What is your pleasure?
Move the ordinance for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. Ordinance passes on final reading. We have need a motion to suspend the rules?
Move to suspend, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
There's 3 items. The first item, the letter dated August 28, 2012, from the Business Administrator, recommending awarding a contract to Hoffman Equipment Company, Piscataway, New Jersey, for the furnishing of one JCB 52755 telescopic forklift or equivalent for the fire department in the amount of $72,870. Second item, the letter dated August 23, 2012, from the Director of Planning and Community Development, requesting authorization for the Planning Board to conduct an updated investigation as to whether the properties area in need of redevelopment in accordance with the requirements of the local redevelopment and housing law. The third item, letter received March 2nd, 2012, from Mario Benedetti, Advisory Council, on behalf of the Uruguayan community in Elizabeth, be permitted to erect and maintain a monument honoring General Jose G. Artigas, a Uruguayan national hero, offered by Ambassador Carlos Orlando Benet, Consul General in Uruguay, to be placed in the City of Elizabeth Freedom Trail, subject to compliance with Ordinance number 1814 and approval with the Department of Public Works.
Heard the reading of the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacques.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed. We'll now move on to new business.
Request permission from the Director of Local Government Services to accept a dedication by writer in fiscal year 2012 budget for donations, acceptance of requests and gifts from New York Community Bank to provide student book bags as required by NJS 48:5-29. Authorize a resolution determining the form and other details of its new relating to interim financing loan program of the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust to be issued in the principal amount of up to $2,600,000 and providing for the issuance and sale of such note to the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust and authorizing the execution and delivery of such note by the City of Elizabeth in favor of the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust, all pursuant to the New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust interim financing state fiscal year 2013 trust loan program.
You've heard the reading of the resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacques. Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. Both resolutions passed.
Certified to the State of New Jersey Local Finance Board that each member of City Council has reviewed and is familiar with as the minimum the sections of the 2011 Annual Audit Report entitled General Comments Recommendations. Confirm the reappointment of Mr. Jose Capital, Elizabeth, to serve as a member of the Elizabeth Housing Authority for a term of 5 years. Authorize an amendment to a resolution adopted July 24, 2012 regarding the appointment of public defenders for the Elizabeth Municipal Court to reflect the addition of Lisa A. Perez, Esquire, of the law firm of Stephen E. Gertler, Esquire, of Wall, New Jersey, for the period July 1, 2012 to June 30, 2013.
You've heard the reading of the resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacques.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed. Need a motion to move from table? Moved by Councilman Questa. Seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacques.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Authorize the award of a contract to Public Service Electric and Gas Company, Somerset, New Jersey, for the purchase of 16 25-foot deco poles with attachments for the North Broad Street streetscape project between Commerce Place and Chestnut Street in the amount of $110,299.40.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye, the resolution passes. Need another motion to remove from
Motion to
order.
remove from table.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Thomas, seconded. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye.
Amend the resolution adopted April 27, 2010, authorizing the award of a contract to Public Service Electric and Gas Company for the purchase of 14 Class 1 poles for the Elizabeth Avenue Streetscape project at a cost of $28,278.22, specifically to change the style to 7 tall deco poles at an additional cost of $21,574.77, raising the amount of the contract to $49,791.99.
You heard the reading of the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs. Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye, the resolution passes.
Authorize the proper city officials to permit Orange Express Transport Elizabeth to operate as an autobus pursuant to Chapter 5.16 of the Code of the City of Elizabeth, traveling to and from North Brunswick and Monroe, New Jersey, utilizing 6 autobuses and the parking of same at 676 Pennsylvania Avenue, Elizabeth. Authorize the award of a contract to Rico Americas Corporation, Pinebrook, New Jersey, for the maintenance of city-owned photocopiers for the period July 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, in an amount not to exceed $25,000. Authorize the award of a contract to Bayway Lumber, Linden, New Jersey, for the purchase of lumber and associated materials for various departments under the Morris County Co-op for the period July 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, at a cost not to exceed $200,000. Authorize the award of a contract to Firefighter 1, Sparta, New Jersey, for the purchase of mask, CBURN meters, and service air tanks for the police department for the period May 17, 2012 through May 16, 2014, in an amount not to exceed $100,000. Authorize the award of respective contracts to Paper Mart Inc., East Hanover, New Jersey, and W.B. Mason Inc., Secaucus, New Jersey, for the purchase of copy paper under the Morris County Co-op for the period July 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, in an amount not to exceed $40,000. Authorize the award of a contract to Allied Fire and Safety Equipment Company, Neptune, New Jersey, under the Union County Cooperative Purchasing Contract for the purchase of fire sprinkler service for the period June 17, 2012 through June 16, 2014, in an amount not to exceed $140,000.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye, all resolutions passed.
Authorize the award of a contract to Matthews Security Elizabeth under the Union County Cooperative Purchasing Contract for the purchase of security system services for the period June 15, 2012 through June 14, 2014, at a cost not to exceed $40,000. Authorize the award of a contract to Public Service Electric and Gas Company, Somerset, New Jersey, for the purchase of a new electric service and the installation of underground electric conduit and cable for the new traffic light at North Broad Street and Westfield Avenue in the amount of $3,850.95. Authorize the award of a contract to Highway Service Corporation Elizabeth for the furnishing of towing and road services for municipal vehicles for the period of 1 year commencing September 13, 2012 through September 12, 2013, with the option to renew for 2 or 3 years at a cost not to exceed $30,000 per year under the same terms and conditions as the current contract. Authorize the award of contract to National 2013 at a cost not to exceed $75,000. Authorize the award of contract to Associated Auto Parts, Linden, New Jersey, for the purchase of automotive and light-duty truck parts for various departments under the Somerset County Co-op for the period July 26, 2012 through August 14, 2013, at a cost not to exceed $150,000.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed.
Authorize the award of contract to Bylaws Auto Parts for Boxhall, New Jersey for the purchase of auto and light-duty truck parts for various departments under the Somerset County Co-op for the period July 26, 2012 to August 14, 2013, in an amount not to exceed $100,000. Authorize the award of a contract to AAM Motor Sales doing business as Jersey City Ford, Jersey City, New Jersey for the purchase of auto parts and accessories for light-duty vehicles for various departments under the Somerset County Co-op for the period August 1, 2012 through June 25, 2014 at a cost not to exceed $150,000. Authorize the award of contract to Independence Constructors, Bridgewater, New Jersey for cleaning, inspections, monitoring of oil water separators and above and underground tanks at various locations, and Department of Environmental Protection compliance for the period August 1st, 2012 through July 31st, 2013 at a cost not to exceed $70,000. Authorize the award of contract to Motorola Communications and Electronics, Bordentown, New Jersey, for the purchase of a service agreement for communications infrastructure and maintenance on mobile portable radios for the police and fire departments at a cost of $104,528.40. Authorize the award of respective contracts to Herman Miller, care of BFI, Parsippany, New Jersey, in the amount of $15,390.82. Kimball National, Jasper, Indiana, in the amount of $9,426.60. And BFI, Parsippany, New Jersey, in the amount of $4,761.30 for the purchase of furniture for the police roll call report writing room in the total amount of $29,578.72.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for a vote, Mr. President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusting.
Aye.
Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Gollman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed.
Authorize the award of contract to Concord Engineering, Voorhees, New Jersey, to provide energy consulting services for the period August 28, 2012 to August 27, 2013, at a cost not to exceed $100,000. Authorize the award of a contract to Verizon Select Services to Skagway, New Jersey, for Sentinel Patriot 911 system, commencing August 28, 2012, at a cost not to exceed $1,2687.76. Amend the resolution adopted June 24, 2012, awarding the contract for assignment of legal counsel for tort litigation where the law firm of the court Bundy, Barrett, and Kinsella Esquires have a conflict of interest for the period July 1, 2012 to June 30, 2013, specifically to include to the list Edwin R. Matthews, Esquire, Moore, Knoll, and Kenyon in Summit, New Jersey. Authorize the award of contract to Stella Associates, LLC, Jupiter, Florida, for consultant management services for public and privately owned water and wastewater utilities to serve as an expert during litigation for the period August 28, 2012 through August 27, 2013, in an amount not to exceed $40,000. Authorize the tax collector to cancel disallowed senior citizen deductions for tax year 2011 pursuant to a delineated list submitted June 25, 2012, in the total amount of $750. Authorize the expenditure of $22,380 Source Summer Program utilizing Nicholas Murray Butler School number 23 for the period July 2nd, 2012 through August 10, 2012.
You've heard the reading of the resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for order, President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusting. Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza. President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed.
Authorize the proper city officials to execute all appropriate documents necessary for grant funds in the amount of $77,856 for the continuation of the Elizabeth Municipal Alliance for the period January 1, 2013 to December 31st, 2013. Authorize the proper city officials to execute an agreement between the City of Elizabeth Department of Health and Human Services and the Elizabeth Board of Education for the city to provide nursing services for non-public schools for the period September 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, at a cost payable to the city in the amount of $109,130. Authorize the proper city officials to execute all appropriate documents to the Union County Open Space, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Kids Recreation Trust Fund to replace the pool at the Earthhaven Recreational Center in an amount not to exceed $500,000. Authorize the proper city officials to execute all appropriate documents to the Bloomberg Philanthropies to sponsor the 2012 Mayor Challenge competition for cities with populations of at least 30,000 residents in an amount not to exceed $5 million. Authorize the proper city officials to reprogram and transfer unexpended balances to the holding account as listed on Schedule A on file in the city clerk's office in the amount of $42,718.75. Authorize the proper city officials to submit a proposal to the New Jersey Urban Enterprise Zone Authority authorizing the use of City of Elizabeth Zone Assistance Funds in the amount of $148,950 to provide funding for a customer service skills training initiative program Phase 5 at the Jersey Gardens Mall.
You've heard the reading of the resolutions. What is your pleasure?
Move the resolution for order, President.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments? I'd just like to take a second to thank the administration for moving forward to have the Earthhaven Center, the pool, replaced. It's a pool, it's the only pool that's left actually in the city, and it needs some repair, and we are going to keep that pool here in the city. And I've worked with the director of recreation in that to ensure that, that pool stays open, since it is the only pool that will be left, run by the City of Elizabeth, and I'm happy to see that they are moving forward with plans to replace that pool. Councilman.
Yes, and I also want to thank you, Mr. President, for advocating that we keep the pool in the city. As you heard earlier, there was a mother here who talked about activities for her child who is autistic and disabled. And these type of programs for the swimming, it provides one of the best mechanisms for therapeutic when it comes to children with autism and other childhood diseases. So again, thank you for advocating and realizing the need in the 21st century that we need some of everything to help our youth just survive and have a successful life. So again, thank you for keeping the pool in your ward.
Are there any other comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President. I also want to thank the administration and yourself for providing assistance with regards to redoing the pool in Bay Way. I had the distinct honor of serving as a lifeguard at the above-ground pool at Schroeder Field, all the way back in the 70s. And it led me into my career, my lifelong dream of becoming a health and physical education teacher. So I would promote any swimming pool that would either be newly erected in the city or refurbished as this one is. I received a an email not too long ago about a young person who recently died not knowing how to swim from Elizabeth. And it saddens me that we here in the fourth largest city in the state, and we only have one swimming pool left. It saddens me that not more pools are put in. It saddens me that not more kids are learning how to swim. And of course not learning how to be afraid and not learning to be afraid of the water, or not being afraid of the water is very important in the young person's life. I didn't have a pool, we didn't have a pool here in the city of Elizabeth until the 70s. We all had to go to either Broadway River Park, or we had to go to Linden Pool in Wheeler Park and Linden to learn. But thank God we still have the one that we have, and hopefully we can open up some more programs during the summertime for special education students who need adaptive help. And we can continue to do the right thing for the younger people and even the older people that need relief, especially in the hot summer. So I would hope only that the administration, the city council will consider over the next 4 years places where you can install pools so that the residents and the kids can learn.
Are there any other comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Perkins Dusty. Aye. Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Goldman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed.
Authorize an amendment to a resolution adopted December 14, 2010, granting the Elizabeth Development Company funds for the First Street Commercial Construction Project, specifically to reallocate $126,050 from said project to the brand new J. Renaissance Apartments project. Authorize an amendment to a resolution adopted December 14, 2010, granting Community Development Block Grant Year 36 funds in the amount of $600,000 to the Elizabeth Development Company, specifically to reprogram $148,950 of the remaining balance of $275,000 of the First Street Commercial Construction Project to the Retail Skills Center project. Rescind the resolution adopted October 26, 2004, designating BFLF Land Corporation as the redeveloper of the former Fine Fair Supermarket property, and rescind the resolution adopted October 26, 2004, authorizing the execution of a redevelopment agreement with BFLF Land Corporation due to BFLF's failure to meet the financial needs of the project as specified in Article 4, Section 4.1, and the project timeline under Section C of the redevelopment agreement. Establish liens for the removal and disposal of debris on properties listed on Schedule A on file in the City Clerk's office in a total amount of $31,321.13. Establish handicap parking spaces in front of the premises located at 408 Franklin Street, 933 Meredith Avenue, and 10 Boyle Street. Delete the following handicap parking spaces from in front of the premises located at 19 Rankin Street and 154 South Park Street. Authorize proper city officials to execute all appropriate documents for the Federal Emergency Management Agency fiscal year 2012, staffing for adequate fire and emergency response grant in an amount not to exceed $3 million for the hiring of 25 additional firefighters to enable the Elizabeth Fire Department to provide more efficient and effective safety services to the city. Authorize settlements in the workers' compensation litigation matter of the loan for the city of Elizabeth in the total amount of $19,701. Authorize settlement in the workers' compensation litigation matter of Pintado versus City of Elizabeth in the total amount of $30,332.25. Authorize in the workers' compensation
and seconded. Are there any comments?
Yes.
Councilwoman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I just want to invite all my colleagues and all the residents who are listening to the citywide book bag giveaway event, which will be held on tomorrow, Wednesday, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mr. President, the reason why I'm bringing this up because in the past, the Elizabeth Development Company has been a partner in this project. But since the changing of the financing with the governor, their funds have been very limited and they could not help out this year. But I do also would like to thank the members of our 20th legislative district, Senator Raymond Lensiak and Nekian and Joe Quine for stepping up and making sure that our Elizabeth residents, our school-age children, have an opportunity to the book bags and school supplies. So again, I'm hoping everyone can go to their local community centers, and I'm hoping we can see everyone on tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are there any other comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilwoman Zaleski. Aye. Councilman Questa.
Aye.
Councilman Jacobs.
Aye.
Councilman Sedan.
Aye.
Councilman Bowman.
Aye.
Councilman Mazza.
Aye.
President Gonzalez.
Aye. All resolutions passed. Does anyone have any commendations? No commendations? Memorials. We have Anna Trincoli, George J. Malfetti, and Giuseppe Zamara. Are there any other memorials? Please stand for a moment of silence.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.